Are the people clapping, not that aren't clapping, are y'all from the intelligence community? I'm asked repeatedly, is Snowden a hero or a villain? Now there's no I'm sort of mixed minds. I know some of you have decided this. But there's no doubt that his legacy will be clouded, by his perch in Russia, no great repository of civil liberties. I agree with critics that say you can't let everybody just decide when to leak classified information. Snowden will in all likelihood face punishment if he returns. But I don't agree with those who argue that he should be hanged or shot on sight. Snowden's leak should not be seen, they say, it shouldn't be seen as civil disobedience because he didn't stick around for punishment. Now, one can argue degrees of bravery or whether you would stick around or not. Thoreau faced a day in jail, and he was considered to be a civil disobedient. Martin Luther King faced 33 days in jail. He was a civil disobedient. But Snowden faces either death or life in prison. I don't believe yet to commit civil disobedience that it requires martyrdom. History will decide, is he a hero, who is hero, and who is villain. Clapper lied in the name of security. Snowden told the truth in the name of privacy. The debate over the leaker, though, shouldn't be caught up just in personalities. It shouldn't make us lose track of the real issue. How does the Fourth Amendment apply in the digital age? To me, this is a profound constitutional question. Can a single warrant be applied to millions of Americans' phone records, emails, credit card statements? When you sign a privacy agreement with your phone company or with your internet provider, don't you retain a privacy interest in those records? The Fourth Amendment is very clear. Warrants must be issued by a judge. Warrants must be specific to the individual, must have your name on it if they want your records. And a single warrant for millions of Americans' phone records hardly sounds specific to the individual. Warrants are supposed to be based on evidence of probable cause. I'm not up here arguing against people searching you. If the judge says they have probable cause that you committed a crime, I'm fine with that. I'm not against the NSA per se, but I am for the process, the due process of law to protect your rights. Generalized warrants that don't name an individual and seek to get millions of records, it goes against the very fabric of the Fourth Amendment. Some say that James Otis, his protest against generalized warrants at the time of our revolution, was really the spark that got things going. I find it ironic that the first African-American president has, without compunction, allowed this vast exercise of raw power by the NSA. Certainly, J. Edgar Hoover's illegal spying on Martin Luther King and others in the civil rights movement should give us all pause. Now, if President Obama were here, he would say he's not J. Edgar Hoover, which is certainly true, but power must be restrained because no one knows who will next hold that power. As Madison put it, if government were always comprised of angels, we wouldn't need restraint. But as we all know, government is often not comprised of angels. The president claims, well, the NSA program, it's been approved by 15 judges. Well, yeah, right, 15 judges, most of them ruling in secret, where nobody had a lawyer on both sides of the equation. The FISA court is a court where the defendant gets no attorney. The debate is shrouded in secrecy. In the FISA court, the NSA can say whatever they want, and they are not cross-examined. A secret court is not a real court. We must take a stand and demand an end to secret courts. This battle for your rights must take place in the light of day. As we speak, my attorneys are battling for a hearing in open court in Washington, D.C. We have a lawsuit to try to prevent this from happening and to get a decision from the Supreme Court. Only the Supreme Court can legitimately decide if government can access all your phone records with a single warrant without suspicion. Now, everyone in this room owns a cell phone. So I'm not fighting for just me or for just one political party. I would do the same whether it were a Republican president or a Democrat president. This is an important issue that goes beyond party politics. I say what you read or what you send in your email or your text messages is none of their damn business. Now, they say they're not listening to your phone calls. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But last week we found out that the CIA illegally searched Senate computers. Dianne Feinstein, she's in charge of the committee. She gave a big speech on the Senate floor saying they're illegally taking our work product, they're looking at our computers, and they have now taken stuff off the computers that we thought could have been information for the American people. I'm going to fight them on this. I told her and complimented her. She's from another party. I went up to her and immediately and said, great speech, everybody's talking about it, because I don't see this as a partisan issue. I hope she will stand up, not let the CIA push her around, not let the NSA push her around. I'm going to fight them on this. No one should be allowed to invade your privacy. That's why I'm announcing today that when I return to Washington, I will push for a select committee styled after the church committee that investigated the abuses of power by the intelligence community in the 70s. It should be bipartisan, it should be independent and wide-reaching. It should have full power to investigate and reform those who spy on us in the name of protecting us. It should watch the watchers. Our liberties are slipping away from us. When Hugh Latimer said, let this be an episode that will not be soon forgotten, he became a human candle against tyranny and intolerance. Americans still have a torch that's burning, figuratively or otherwise, in New York Harbor. We should never let that flame of liberty go out. On occasion, we've let our guard down, particularly in times of war, in times of fear. We've succumbed. We have, as Roger Waters put it, traded our heroes for ghosts, exchanged a walk-on part in a war for a lead role in a cage. Or as Franklin put it, traded our liberty for security. I think we've been too lax in guarding our privacy. Look at how we travel now. Look at the personal privacy and dignity we've lost. When you slog through the airports, ask yourself who's winning. Harvard Law School professor Noah Feldman asked the question in a very visual way. He says, the next time you go through airport security, the next time they tell you to put your hands over your head and hold that vulnerable position for 7 seconds, no, hun, just a little bit higher, ask yourself, is this the posture of a free man? The question before us is, will we live as men and women? Will we cower? And will we give up on our liberty? I, for one, will fight on because I believe that your rights are inalienable, inseparable, inextinguishable. And I hope everyone with a cell phone, every American will fight for your privacy and for the right of every American to be left alone. I hope you will stand with me and take a stand for liberty. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Conservative activist Larry Klayman and the ACLU have also filed similar lawsuits against the NSA, and both resulted in either failure or a stayed ruling. What makes you think that you'll have any more success than these groups that have tried before you?
I'm supportive of all the other lawsuits, so it isn't exclusive that mine is the best, but it is slightly different. The ACLU lawsuit was ruled against. The judge either threw it out or said that the program was constitutional. The Klayman suit is in the same court that mine will go to, and the judges previously ruled it unconstitutional, stayed the ruling, and I think it will be appealed. So I think the Klayman suit is still active. Ours is going to the same court because it has a similar subject. Our case is slightly different, and we think for some legal reasons that it may have a chance of going all the way to the Supreme Court. To me, it's not so much that my case has to go, but I think a case needs to go to the Supreme Court because currently many people believe that the Fourth Amendment doesn't apply at all. They think that the reason why you can give a single warrant to Verizon is that you don't own those records. I think they're jointly held. I think if you sign a privacy agreement, Verizon agrees not to tell your neighbor who you're calling. So they kind of acknowledge that. I think it's acknowledging that you still have an interest in those records. But to me, the most important thing is, and there's at least, we think, 4 or 5 Supreme Court justices that have indicated that in this digital age, think about it, it's a lot different than 1975. That's when the last case, Smith versus Maryland, was held on records. And it's also different. That was about one suspect's phone tap. We're now talking about 300 million Americans' phones. So I think it's a big deal, and it is different than what we've ever had before. So I'm hoping that we will get all the way to the Supreme Court.
So earlier you condemned Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, for allegedly lying in front of Congress. You said he's very explicitly broken the law. Does that mean that you think he should be sent to prison?
I think he should be. Well, you don't get sent to prison until you're found guilty, so we should have a trial. He deserves a trial. But the interesting thing is I'm not an outlier on this, in the sense that I think 7 members of the Intelligence Committee or Judiciary Committee in the House have signed a letter saying the same thing. And I think it hurts us because we do have to rely on some things being secret. And it's an extraordinary power. It's a power to capture people, incarcerate people. It's even a power to kill people. So that power needs to be overseen, and they have to be honest with us. If the people in charge of the intelligence community are not being honest to Congress, and they're actually spying on Congress, I have grave doubts about everything they're telling me. So yeah, I think it is important. And one of the reasons I bring it up is that many of these people, they want to throw the book at Snowden. And I have mixed feelings what should happen, because I think you can't release secrets all the time. I mean, that would lead to chaos. But at the same time, I think he also wanted to reveal something he thought was unconstitutional. But for all the people that want to throw the book and the letter of the law at Snowden, I like the contrast. They don't want to do a thing. They're not a peep out of them for Clapper. So you're not really being consistent if you want to throw the book at Snowden, but you don't want to do a thing to Clapper. They both broke the law, technically, and then you have to decide what justice is. But yeah, I think Clapper should be tried for perjury.
So you say you're asked this all the time, but we want to get it in here too. Would you classify Edward Snowden as, on the one hand, a hero or a traitor? And to phrase that slightly differently, maybe, if there were another Edward Snowden out there, would you encourage him to speak up?
You know, I think the ultimate decision of hero or villain, history is going to sort out. And I think there are pros and cons to a lot of it. And I know people have a strong feeling about it. I think that his intentions were good, but here's the problem. Let's say we have 400, 500 people here, and let's say you all are, we're talking to you and you're the new recruits for the CIA or for the intelligence for our Army. Should I tell all 500 of you, just decide when you think it's unconstitutional and just reveal secrets anytime? You could see how it could lead to chaos. But at the same time, I'm very upset about what our intelligence community is doing, and we might not have ever known about it had Snowden not leaked it. Some say Snowden should have tried to become a whistleblower. I don't know if he did try or what the process is, but I think on the one hand you have chaos. Bradley Manning released 24 million pages. There's a chance that people could die from that. There's a chance that intelligence could get out, that it could endanger our agents. And I'm not against spying. I mean, we will have people gathering intelligence around the world, and I don't think that we can allow willy-nilly, indiscriminate release of documents. But at the same time, I'm sympathetic to what was released because I think